People think of Apollo astronauts like some band of brothers with a shared experience. But there's a difference between us and, let's say, your typical World War II fighter squadron. In that squadron, you've all gone through hell together. You've protected the people with you. If you were the wingman, you protected the lead. And if you were the lead, you protected the wingman. You flew together, you fought together, and some members died together. But with the Apollo program, everybody was an individual. We never all flew together, so there's a big difference in mentality. 50 years later, of course, we get back together and it's kind of fun, and we reminisce about old things. But I reminisce about things that basically didn't have that much to do with the program. For example, astronaut Paul Weitz was probably my best friend in that whole group. When I saw him, Paul and I talked about fishing. Then, when he lost his wife, which was a huge blow for him, I helped talk him through that. It's not about space exploration, it's personal stuff. It's catching up with old friends. You know those big 60s rock bands who break up with differences that can never be reconciled? Until they get back together and tour a few decades later. I think what's happening with us is similar. All those things that cause stress and distress have disappeared into history. They're gone. What's left over is that we all have something in common that we did. Whether good or bad, whether we liked it 50 years ago or not, those things are all historic now, and there's no reason to cry over spilled milk. But I do have a few exceptions. I separate out those who were good people and those who did me damage. Some of the damage that was done to me, I can't forgive. It's a weird thought to have, but, sometimes when I'm saying a quick goodbye to these guys in some hotel lobby, or at the end of a banquet, or at the airport, I know it's the last time I might see them, because that has happened so many times before with old colleagues. Do I tell them they were important to me, that I'm grateful they were in my life, or do they already know? There was one guy whom I was particularly glad to have the opportunity to say something like that to, my fellow astronaut Dick Worden. I worried about Dick. He had a huge load on his shoulders, taking care of his late wife, and it aged him rapidly. Once she passed away, I wasn't sure how long he would last. It's like he had a duty to perform, and he was going to keep doing that and not give up. He was pretty tied to her. That, again, was a deep personal connection that had no real connection to the space program, other than that was where we'd met. So being an astronaut doesn't define me. That's not how I see myself. When giving talks to the public, I used to talk about my flight to the moon because I wanted to talk about the flight. Now I talk about it because I want to motivate people to do something else. So I use the experience as a tool. The jacket is a tool, too. It's all public perception. If people see me in the jacket, they say, "Oh, I know who you are, and if you're going to give a talk, I'm going to come and listen." I think I've developed a persona who people really enjoy listening to. I don't pat myself on the back. I've found a niche out there where I'm not promoting myself. I'm promoting something else, such as STEM education, such as following your dreams, such as how to organize a business. But I have to wear that jacket because that's the thing that attracts people to begin with. Then they listen to my message. The last big tour I did in Europe, I went everywhere.